2, 1. You're on.
I'm good enough. I'm smart enough. Gosh darn it, people like me. Okay, we are live here on the Eastern Observer, which is powered by the Blackjack Media Networks. Today is Doubleheader Tuesday, where tonight after our show, primetime episode 15 of the Primetime Rundown Zoom interviewing series with Joey Jarzenka welcomes College Hoop Digest Jake Zimmer. But right now, first, we have episode 4 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast presented by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends, play against the universe. Ding. So as of right now, as you see, we have a little bit of a change here. Tyler, our sheriff, our top guy, he's unable to be with us tonight. With us are two of my close wrestling friends. First, we have, for those that don't know, ProWrestlingPick'em.com has been up for about a year and a half now, but I have run pick'em pools for about 3 years prior to that, and we are honored to have our first ever Pro Wrestling Pick'em champion, John DeConnie, on the podcast. John, how are you today?
Good. Thank you very much for the invite, Al. Pleasure to be along with you.
Yeah, glad to have you, pal. If I do remember correctly, that pool came down. It's been the only pool so far that actually came down to the main event of WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 32.
Yep.
You had Roman Reigns. I had Triple H. I was dead in the water going into that. I didn't think I was going to have as good of a WrestleMania pick'em as I did. But yeah, that didn't turn out well for me. So congratulations, John DeConnie, our first ever PWP champion.
Thank you.
And also, we have a very good friend of mine who actually, I saw you, John Smith. I saw you Saturday night. We watched Double or Nothing. How are things going with you? How was the rest of your Memorial Day weekend?
Oh, it was great, man. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Glad to have you. All right, so on today's show, the Intercontinental Championship Tournament semifinals are set. We have a new United States champion, which took place in front of a live audience. Pretty cool. NXT In Your House has booked a couple matches. We'll get into those, as well as Group A of the Cruiserweight Tournament going into a tiebreaker, which Tyler and I discussed briefly last week. We were a little bit wrong on the group, which group was going to happen in this one, but we'll get into that. But we're going to curtain jerk the show today with AEW's Double or Nothing main event, Stadium Stampede. Now, gentlemen, I have a list here. I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything. We have Hangman Page riding on a horse. Check, right?
Yeah.
100 yards of suplexes.
Check.
We have the Pool of Reincarnation, which I believe was a lake in Impact, right? So it was a pool of reincarnation this time. We saw a moonsault off a goalpost. We saw referees' calls being challenged. We saw Sammy Guevara again being chased by a golf cart. We had a dive off the bleachers. So pretty much from Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle's entrance wearing football jerseys, ending with Kenny Omega and with the most insane one-winged angel probably ever produced. And actually they had a camera angle from field level to see how far they dropped. It was pretty nuts. The amount of stars I can give Kenny Omega on that it's an infinite amount of stars just for that one move alone. But all right, John Smith, since I watched with you, your feelings on Stadium Stampede?
I don't know if you're gonna like my feelings on it because I feel like they couldn't decide whether it was a production or a match. You know?
Okay.
Now halfway through the match, all of a sudden you start getting all this cheesy stuff. You know, the 100-yard suplex, for instance. At least don't cut away from it. At least make it look like it was all in one shot. You know what I mean?
And he was doing Northern Lights suplexes, right?
Yeah, Northern Lights. Yeah.
Which I don't know if we're ever on a game show together and I ever ask you guys what's my favorite suplex, the answer is the Northern Lights suplex. That is my favorite. So, John DeConnie, what do you think? What did you think?
Well, I was a little bit worried going into it. I was worried that it was going to be just an absolute disaster, but I thought they did a pretty decent job in, I guess, knowing where they were going to cut to next and following the participants around. And quite frankly, I think the whole thing paid off for me when after 100 yards of Northern Light suplexes, Was that Matt Jackson celebrated with the Das Wunderkind dance in the end zone. He
got
was
flagged for that, right?
was
Did you get a flag?
properly
You celebrate,
flagged
you got
for
flagged for that. Yep.
He was properly flagged for it, and then paid it off with a super kick to the referee.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you know what? Honestly, I mean, I think it's fair here. Anytime anybody tries to impersonate Alex Wright, it's a flag. Nobody can do it as well. That dance as well as him. That was a fair call in my view. I don't think replay was needed on that one.
Absolutely.
That match got rave reviews from what I've seen across social media. I actually didn't know what to expect walking into it. I just hashtag bleep show. I honestly, I knew between the minds that were being put in and the guys that were participating in it, that pretty much checked all boxes for me. I can't imagine that match them doing any more than what they did. But from also what is here, I know there's a rumor start that they actually want to make this a traditional event now at the stadium, which I think would be pretty insane.
Yeah. Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah, I guess it's possible. How many of those football jerseys, those inner circle football jerseys, I think have been sold already? I mean, that's gonna be freaking.
Probably number one.
They had helmets too. Did you see the helmets? I got a close up. Those were actually inner circle helmets. I didn't see that at first. That was pretty crazy. John Moxley retained his AEW World Championship. I thought it was another great match with these two. I had high hopes going into it. I don't know if you guys heard the last couple podcasts. When they back in the day, old school days when they were Dean Ambrose and Luke Harper.
ECW.
They had a match at Extreme Rules that was a lot of fun. This one was a little more violent than that one. This one, I think they had to make sure that they went all out because it was for the world title, for the AEW Championship. And what did he won with a rear naked choke, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
After,
John McConney, go ahead, pal.
Yeah, after I think 2 paradigm shifts on the staging and one that put them through the stage, then they crawled out, they grappled a little bit, and you wound up in a rear naked choke. I thought that was kind of an odd finish, but I get the point of what they were going for, that these two would battle to hell and back, and it wasn't going to take just their regular finishers to finish this one.
Yeah, and I think this, Brody Lee passing out, this kind of, takes away from maybe like a pinfall loss or a tap out loss, kind of like with Stone Cold in WrestleMania 13.
Sure.
It didn't really hurt Brody. He just got caught, and he didn't give up.
Yeah. Plus, he kicked out at 1. After they went through the stage, they brought him back in the ring, and he kicked out at 1. So then Dean Moxley had to do whatever he had to do. He threw the choke
10 push-ups, John,
and choked him out.
That is an essential wrestling podcast rule. If you call anybody by their former names, 10 push-ups.
10 push-ups?
Yeah. That's what ESPN does. Every time somebody calls them the San Diego Chargers, they 10 push-ups on air. Do you see this feud going further than this? I know we'll get into Brian Cage real quick, but they already announced that Brian Cage will be using his championship match against John Moxley at Fyter Fest coming up. Do you see Brody Lee getting back into this though, even though Brian Cage has the next shot? Anybody named John can answer.
Well, I don't see this going on any further because I feel like Brody Lee's got to pick up the pieces. He's got to figure out why he lost.
Okay.
I figured that we would see, maybe not obviously immediately, but since those two have such a history going all the way back to CZW, as I understand it.
Yeah, Tyler was big on mentioning their CZW feud. Apparently, they were going after each other with sawzalls and staple guns and whatnot way back then.
So they seem to have a good rapport with one another. So I would assume that this would be something that they would maybe visit again. But obviously, Cage gets the next shot, so maybe it goes on pause for a while Brody Lee tries to put things back together, as Smith said.
Okay. Do you guys have any problem with now, and I think John Smith and I talked about this Saturday. You guys have any issues with them using former WWE guys for their main event right now? John DeConnie?
The business is what it is at this point. They're gonna, they may be a year old, but they're still in most regards a fledgling upstart. So, if you got big names and you want to push them right to the top, you want to make your guys, you want to make your MJFs and whatnot. But right now, if you got to stay afloat by using WWE guys, I don't really have much of a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't either. John Smith, anything to that? You gotta.
I feel like somebody like Adam Page should have been the one to beat Chris Jericho. Jericho is the man. Of course, he deserves to be the champ. But then have one of your own guys that you built up beat him. Instead of just having Dean Ambrose come in from WWE and beat him.
Yeah, I think those are the names right now. Like I had this conversation. I can't remember who I had this conversation with originally about Chris Jericho becoming the first champion. I think 9 times out of 10 in that match, Adam Page wins. But the fact that this is the pay-per-view a week before their first ever television show, that you need Chris Jericho's name for people to tune in that first episode.
Absolutely.
So I kind of feel like, I don't know, it wasn't a no-brainer that was a Jericho, but I think it was a smart move that you just use his name to get people to come in for that first episode. Sorry, I got sidetracked there for a second.
Yeah, if you weren't going to have Omega, who was probably the biggest name on the independent / Japanese circuit and whatnot, if he wasn't going to be in that match, then I think you needed Jericho's name and gravitas to make that main event.
100%.
All right, and speaking of the aforementioned Brian Cage, he was the mystery partner. It was not CM Punk, as some people mentioned it was going to be. You know what the funny thing was? Last week when I was going over the Impact rosters and I was looking at it on Wikipedia, because actually they have a pretty, as far as, rosters and talent and whatnot, they're a pretty reliable source. I'll let you know when they're wrong. And I did notice that Brian Cage's name wasn't there. He wasn't under Impact contract, but then I read a little bit further that he was actually having shoulder surgery. So I actually, it's funny how I looked him up and I thought he was completely, so I didn't even bring him up last week's episode as a potential for this mystery partner, and it ends up being Brian Cage and ends up winning it. Thoughts on Brian Cage, John Smith?
Well, as soon as we found out it was him, it was obvious he was going to be the one winning it, especially considering the other 8 guys in the match. I mean, I really think Darby Allin's the only plausible one to go after the title right now, besides Cage, of course.
John, DeConnie, JD?
Yeah. Certainly it was a surprise to me to see him come out at all, let alone with Taz, and Taz doing the voiceover of the Path of Game.
Yeah.
But yeah, once he was there, I would have bet the house on him taking it. And
yeah, that's kind of crazy. You bring up Taz for a sec. Now, Taz been completely up Darby Allin's ass right now after that whole semifinal mishap, which, kayfabe going, okay, so he screwed up or whatever, but I think he did screw up Darby Allin, because he didn't act upset at all that he lost that match. I mean, if I was him, I would have been furious at the referee for counting that, not thinking his shoulders were down or whatever it was, but that's, I guess, irrelevant. But Taz has been on him, and now they just throw Taz with Brian Cage instead.
Yeah.
That was a little weird.
Yeah, it seemed natural that he could be a coach or a mentor, at least, to Allen somewhere along the line, but apparently they went another direction.
Yep. We have 2 new champions in All Elite Wrestling. We'll get to the TNT Championship Tournament Final. I will toot my horn right now. I did have Cody winning that match. I kind of felt it was going to be like a roll-up or something. I didn't think it was going to be 2 crossroads and he was done. I didn't think Lance Archer would go down like that the way he did. But Cody is our first ever TNT champion. I well deserved. If he can't go for the world title and he founded this, give him something. Let him be the first ever at something here.
Who else could rightly be the first ever terrible neck tattoo champion?
Terrible neck tattoo champion. I didn't realize that's what TNT stood for. If I would have known that, I would have bet the house on him. So that happened. I thought that was a pretty decent match. Mike Tyson caught yawning. I thought that was funny. That was just bad timing by the cameras, I think. I mean, he was energetic the entire time he was involved in it. So I think that was just poor timing, I guess. Like, he couldn't have planned that any worse. But he got involved. He threw out, I guess, Jake Roberts tried to come out with the snake. He threw out Jake, threw out Arn Anderson. Mikey got involved, and apparently he's coming back this Wednesday as well. What do you think is coming from Mike Tyson this Wednesday? John Smith, anything?
Oh, I couldn't imagine what's going to happen with Tyson on Wednesday. I'm just more pissed about screwing up Lance Archer's push or his momentum more than anything. I mean, not his push. He's still going to be going with Jake Roberts, but how are you going to go build him up like that and then have him just fall to two crossroads, like you said?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a weird finish. They are having a battle royal this Wednesday. They didn't announce any participants in it. They're having a battle royal where the winner is going to be the first challenger for the TNT Championship. They didn't say when, if it was going to be at Fyter Fest or if it's going to be on a TNT, Dynamite, because the TNT Championship should be defended on the TNT network.
Yep.
I think I don't say they dropped the ball on that one, but that one, if I was TNT, I'd be a little bit pissed about that one.
Especially since the world title is never defended on TV.
No. So, you think Lance Archer wins that battle royal, and we just get right back at this again? I can see a pissed off Lance Archer here going into that battle royal, eliminating at least 50% of the people in it.
Yeah, I could
John
definitely see.
McConney, any thoughts on that?
I could definitely see Archer tearing through the battle royal because it's too good of a storyline. It writes itself with two Hall of Fame coaches, and I think we've certainly not seen the end of that. So
it wasn't a bad match either. I don't think people will mind seeing it again.
No, not at all. I think the GIF will live in infamy of Tyson yawning, but besides that 1 second, he did seem to be engaged with the rest of the match. He seemed to be having a good time over there.
Now, what are the odds of Mike Tyson being in the ring with Cody Rhodes, taking off his T-shirt, wearing a Lance Archer shirt, and then dropping Cody Rhodes with a punch a la WrestleMania 14?
Someone's getting caught with an uppercut. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Why bother having him on TV if someone's not getting a knuckle sandwich?
Did you see his training videos? He's coming up with a fight lately, recently or soon, right? He's coming up. Someone's throwing a bunch of money at him to fight possibly Tito Ortiz. I saw that name thrown around. That'd be pretty.
Oh, Jesus,
Unbelievable.
I would love to see Mike back in the ring.
I heard, or maybe it was a joke, and I just didn't read all the way through the blurb. But I saw, pipe dreams about him in Holyfield Part 3 and stuff like that. And then I saw, clips of him being completely shredded wheat. And,
yeah, Tyson looks. I don't think there's ever been a point in time where you could offer me any amount of money and I would just stand in front of Mike Tyson punch. That's not. Listen, things I don't want to do.
Absolutely not.
Then I'll touch on one or two more things here and we'll move forward. In the women's division, we do have Hikaru Shida is our new. She's the third now ever AEW Women's Champion.
Finally.
Defeating Nyla Rose. Tyler and I we both picked that. She's been there. She's been a workhorse. She was the number one contender for 12 straight weeks on a very big win streak. I like how they made it no disqualification so that she could use some toys to help her cause so it looked believable to beat Nyla Rose. Yeah. We kind of picked that and paired her with Britt Baker winning. Britt Baker was actually injured in her match last week on Dynamite. Light the fuse, bring the boom, Dynamite. According to the injury report from the doctor, that the patient is actually worse than the injury here, and I find that absolutely amazing. How she is being impossible to these doctors. That is perfect for her gimmick. So even not competing and getting stripped of her pay-per-view match, all the doctor had to say was the patient's worse than the injury. And it's just like perfect. She's fine. We're good. So hopefully she'll be back soon because, we really, Tyler and I were discussing how do you feel at some point in the future? It seems like it's a collision course for Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker again, especially after Shida broke her nose.
Yeah, it seems like a no-brainer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
John Smith, anything?
No, I agree with everything you just said.
All right.
As long as somewhere.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, as long as somewhere along the way we get more of Tony Schiavone standing next to Britt Baker and being the world's greatest microphone stand. Referred to him as.
Two interesting side notes with this, and then we'll move forward. MJF and Jungle Boy was an absolute clinic. that match didn't really look all that great on paper. That was probably the best wrestling contest of the night. Any objections to that or any? That was phenomenal. That was
Agreed.
That was amazing.
Yeah, definitely the best wrestling match. I liked the Brody Lee match more, but
Okay.
I also didn't like how MJF went so long with Jungle Boy, since MJF's supposed to be like, a few levels above him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But he is just coming off of that, devastating injury, so maybe that
The nail.
balanced it out a little.
Yeah.
He looked as close to 100%. And the guy's got heart. Say what you want of him. He heals like Wolverine. He's got a heart like Shane Falco. And then, like I said, Dustin Rhodes, a little bit of old gold dust. Anyone want to comment on the Sean Spears spanking? Didn't think so. Shout out to Sean Spears, though. He actually, where's Dustin Rhodes? He's at home washing his tights. Awesome reference from the first Batman. I love saying that. I actually said that about Sami Zayn on last week's show. I don't know if anyone caught that, but I love that line, especially when no one's there.
Yes.
So overall, I thought Double or Nothing. It was a success. It was a nice success. Good show. Moving forward for AEW.
Absolutely. I think that it was a good card top to bottom.
Yeah, it was definitely worth the $60.
All right, we fast forward to SmackDown in the Intercontinental Championship Tournament. For those of you who listened, I believe it was the first episode 1 of the Essential Wrestling Podcast, Tyler and I discussed a potential Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus match where I picked Jeff Hardy with a roll-up victory and having a very irate Sheamus to keep going after him. Thank you very much.
Golf clap.
I was a couple weeks too late, but I got the result I was looking for. Not to mention we keep Sheamus away from Daniel Bryan. We touched on that last week. That's not a very good matchup that anybody ever wants to see again.
Certainly not Daniel Bryan's wife.
No, yeah, I'm sure Bree does not want to see that. But Jeff Hardy advances, and AJ Styles, the newly traded to SmackDown for future considerations.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Styles defeated longtime nemesis Shinsuke Nakamura in their first round matchup. Gentlemen, John Smith, I'll go with you first. Any comments on these first 2 round matchups? Or the trade or anything?
Why trade him to SmackDown now? He didn't win the title yet. Now it just makes it look like he's going to win the title, At least if he wins the title, then they say, oh, now we got to go trade you somebody because we're taking AJ on our team. You know what I mean?
Okay.
The match was great.
I watched those. They could be another pairing that, once a month. Like, okay, it's the second Friday of the month. This is our monthly AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura fight. Put that up there with Buddy Murphy and Aleister Black. I can watch those 2 all the time.
He's got to win one of them at some point, though, right? For you to want to continue to see it.
It's not Nakamura's ever beaten him, right? That's really.
I don't believe so.
That low blow was heard around the world at WrestleMania, though, man. I can tell you that.
Very true.
Going further with AJ Styles, I saw this going over my notes. I guess he had a exclusive interview on WWE.com after his match with Nakamura, and he's not letting this thing with The Undertaker go.
Really?
He's not letting it go. He's not happy about it. Do you think we could possibly see these 2 at SummerSlam? I really haven't caught up with the last ride. I know The Undertaker's a very hot topic as of late because of his documentary series, but I think if anybody can get in the ring with The Undertaker and not make Taker look WrestleMania 33 bad or Goldberg bad or DX bad or anything, it is AJ Styles. I feel like they're headed on another collision course here because it doesn't look like Styles is letting go of this.
Well, I think you and I spoke about this after we spoke about how great the production was for that graveyard match and whatnot. That, I said, it feels like, every time Taker performs, you get the feeling like this could be it.
Yeah.
And I thought that a produced and, a cut together match like that was a weird way to possibly be his out. And giving you credit, the first thing you said was there will be another entrance. We will see the dead man again because he kind of was half dead man, half American badass.
Yeah, he was dressed for a street fight, kind of. He was in whatever. He was street taker, I guess.
Yeah.
Just like Styles was in jeans and whatnot.
Right. So I think for that reason alone, I think, and I've only been through the first episode of the docu-series myself, and literally just finished watching it about an hour ago. But I think he would, like you said, he will want that one more entrance, that one more stadium pop, that one more in-ring tombstone, hands across the chest, eyes rolled back, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Now, John Smith, I'll throw this at you. Then, do you want to see this at SummerSlam, or do you want to see them go at it again at WrestleMania? Wait another X amount of months while they have the stadium out in Los Angeles.
I'd rather them do it at SummerSlam. I don't want this going for another year. It's just
it doesn't really have to be anything. It's just Styles just not forgetting it. Really, I don't think that's he's going to have other feuds. Obviously,
I'd rather
kind of have him pegged to win the title tournament.
Yeah, I'd rather see AJ Styles actually have a good match at WrestleMania.
All right. So with that going forward, big champion versus champion match. Bayley by hook or crook by herself though. Cheat the win. Bayley rolls up and hooks the bottom rope and pins Charlotte Flair. I don't want to say I didn't see that coming. I want to say I did see it coming. I honestly didn't know what they were doing with this match. Why they booked it, I don't know. I mean, Sasha. Not that I have a problem with Sasha or Bayley, but like both being champions right now, it's just weird. And then the whole crossover going over, the shows, reach 4 times a year or whatever is going on with that.
The thing that I think that was the thing that made the least amount of sense to me. If they're only allowed 4 a year, as you said last week on the podcast, Charlotte blew through 2 of her 4 opportunities in a week. There was no point to having her face Bayley. I don't know what storyline it pushed forward.
Bayley's got nothing going on right now in SmackDown. Like I said, other than she's got Sasha Banks staring her right in the face.
Yeah, you're just waiting for Sasha to turn on.
But that's all. It's I think Sasha and Sonya Deville. Like that's it. The only 2 that she's really. Well, she hasn't faced Mandy either. But I guess there's more for Bayley to do. I guess but there's just nothing for her to do right now.
Yeah.
It was definitely her best match as a heel, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Bayley, that was a great match. It was the top of the hour match. It wasn't the main event, right? The main event was Jeff and Sheamus was the main event. I spied a Jersey girl get a pinfall this week, gentlemen. I know you're both from New Jersey as well. I smiled. Sonya Deville.
Absolutely, every time.
That's it. You don't want to upset a Jersey girl. I'm pretty much basing my life on it right now because my future beautiful bride to be is in fact a Jersey girl, and I just do not like to upset her. Sonya got the win over Mandy Rose, and then Ziggler got the super kick on Otis. The bad guys went on top right here. This doesn't hurt Otis at all, does it?
It's in keeping with the yearly tradition of once you have the briefcase, you go on a losing streak because it doesn't matter. You've got the contract.
Yeah, because all these losses go away once he cashes in and wins.
Yeah.
All right, John. Do you have any inclination, any ideas, any thought? When Otis cashes in, who do you want Otis? Does he cash in? Is any?
I have a feeling he's either gonna cash in as a tag team with Tucker once he comes back, or he's gonna lose that briefcase to somebody. Maybe that's what they're setting up to with Ziggler or something. I don't know. How do you give Otis the world title?
Yeah, that's the one thing. I get how popular he is, and everybody loves him. They loved him before. The crowd. I don't know. It's tough to tell. You don't want to. I hate social media sometimes because you can't really tell if people like somebody or they're just being trolls or whatever it is.
Right.
I have a tough time with Otis as world champ, but then I guess I could have said that about a couple people that I just didn't see as world champ. They got it, and
I think one way or another we're lining up for what will this be, the 4th or 5th time if it comes to fruition that someone with the briefcase fails to cash in, because I think either Otis fails to cash in unless, like John Smith said, he does something with I could definitely see him getting the tag belts, but I don't see him being a world champion. Or I read a blurb today and didn't really get into it because I like to try and stay away from that stuff before we make picks and whatnot. Them setting up some kind of angle where Mandy and Sonya are fighting, and in order to save Mandy, somehow Otis winds up challenging Dolph for Mandy's honor in some way, shape, or form. And the impetus is that it's for the briefcase. He actually puts the briefcase on the line.
Well, now all right. Let's just go a step further with this one. Do you see Dolph Ziggler as Universal Champion?
Well, and that's why I say one way or another, I see it as being a failed cash in because then even if Dolph has it, yeah, like you said, do you really see Dolph as the Universal Champion?
I do. I know John does. John Smith does, and John's not
maybe with no crowds.
Yeah. Hey, you can say what you want about Dolph Ziggler's, world title runs in the past. All right. He's drawn more money than Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre combined right now. All right. He's drawn more crowds, more people. All right. There was no guy in the chair this week on SmackDown. But I do want to get your opinions on this. Who do you think is the guy in the chair? CM Punk was already taken. And actually, CM Punk actually went troll on everybody on his FS1 show. What's it called? Backstage, where he was in the chair with the hoodie, with the hoodie up, and then he came out, and they, kind of trolled everybody that it's not him. Any theories on who this guy is?
I don't have a theory on who it is, but I think they, I don't want to say they went out of their way, but they made a point of, I remember that I think the last time you guys talked about it, it looked like the guy's hand was tattooed. That's what led to everybody to saying CM Punk. They made a point of this last time we went to that control room and saw the figure in the hoodie, hand like went up and in front of the camera before it pressed, and you could see
there's no tattoo.
A Caucasian, and the person had no tattoos. So.
Where they're going necessarily have to be the person, though. That could be just, a front man. I think it's Ali, to be honest with you.
Okay.
They haven't done anything with Ali. You haven't heard his name in a while. He was hurt, right?
Yeah, we don't know where Mustafa Ali is right now. I guess, and John, maybe we'll just go back to the Styles point. SmackDown's missing a lot of guys right now. They're missing, Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, Bobby Roode, Ember Moon, the Usos. Chad Gable's been AWOL. Bo Dallas is my pick as the guy in the chair. Actually, I have another theory. And, there's a lot of people missing right now at SmackDown. I think they need the help. And Styles is, future considerations. When those guys come back, they can just come back on Raw and say they were part of the trade. Like Bobby Roode, when Bobby Roode, I guess I heard, rumor and whatever. Bobby Roode's stuck in Canada with the Singh brothers, which makes no sense to me. But I don't know if they're living together or if it's just a coincidence that they're both stuck in Canada. But you just throw Bobby Roode back on Raw and just say he was a part of the Styles trade, or you throw Chad Gable on Raw and he's a part of, he's a part of the Styles trade. God knows what futures considerations need. But I have Bo Dallas as one of my picks. I would love. Imagine if it was Eva Marie. That would be the biggest. Follow me on this one. That would be the biggest letdown, probably in the history of the company.
Not for you.
Oh, I will lose it. All right, I would absolutely lose my mind.
And yet this
turns out to be Eva Marie, and just the entire world just pit. Like we're talking like as like Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34 pissed. Like Undertaker losing the streak pissed. Like this is gonna be epic if this ends up being
gobbledygooker.
It could be the gobbledygook. It could be the gobbledygooker. All right, last point from SmackDown. Miz and Morrison they're going to go for be co-champs. They're challenging Braun Strowman. Hey, ho, Universal champs. You giving them a shot, John Smith? John Smith, you giving them a shot?
I think they have zero shot at winning. I think it's a good idea, though. I think they're going to do a match. Like, remember the matches Braun had when he first left the Wyatt family, when he would beat 2 and 3 guys up at once, stack them up and destroy them?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be like 2 jobbers. They'll get their offense in. But I think he's going to end up power slamming both of them for the victory.
You could probably power slam them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? One guy on each shoulder, maybe one on top of each. I think they could pull that off. John DeConnie, you giving him a shot?
Uh, in keeping with Vinnie Mac, no chance in hell.
Gotcha.
But I think they will take the opportunity of SmackDown this week to probably jump and soften up Braun to make us think that there is a chance. But in the end, I just don't see it happening.
I think the unfortunate fact of the matter is I think the Miz kind of hit the nail on the head during the dirt sheet. Bray Wyatt's not done with Braun. Now, I'm not saying Bray's going to come out and cost Braun the title, so Miz and Moore's going to be co-champions, but I'm going to pay attention to after that match to see a Fiend sighting, maybe drag him under the ring or something. I think Miz kind of let the cat out of the bag, hoping that no one would notice 2 weeks from now when the show's going on. Like, oh, crap, Bray Wyatt. Because he's right. Bray Wyatt's not going to forget this one. You know, like I said, he beat up the Firefly Funhouse guy. Now he's got to deal with the Fiend.
Exactly. At some point in time, it's not going to be Bray that comes back. It'll be the Fiend, and that's when I might worry that Braun is going to lose it. You know, like Finn and the Demon. You know, Finn, there's at least a chance he could lose. Bray is 50-50 on any match he's wrestled in his history in the company. Flip a coin, he wins one, loses one.
Yeah.
But Fiend's not going to lose that easy. Just like you know. The Demon's not going to lose that easy.
I think a victory over the Fiend would be the only thing that could legitimize this world title run for him, though. For Braun, I think it was like a consolation kind of thing because Roman was gone, and now everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you just got the championship because Roman didn't want to show up or whatever."
Yeah.
So a victory over the Fiend, I think. I'm not saying that they're going to do it. I agree that the Fiend would probably win that match, but I think that's what would legitimize Braun Strowman's title run, you know?
Yeah, that takes the transitional champ title off of him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, exactly. All right, so that'll be at the SmackDown. We got the semifinal matchups are next week. We'll get to those in our picks later in the main event of the show. The main event of every show is our picks for the upcoming week's events. Because as everybody knows, the Essential Wrestling Podcast is sponsored by ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends. Play against the universe. Ding. Not getting old. All right, shifting gears to NXT this past Wednesday. Got a couple matches announced for In Your House. Tommaso Ciampa came out and confronted Karrion Kross. Killian Cross. Wow, see, I got the killer and the Carrion combined there, and I got Killian Dane. I don't know if you saw where I was going with that one. Karrion Cross came out. Had his match with Enhancement Talent. Whooped them in all of a minute, which is what Karrion Kross should be doing to these guys. I'm sure Kenny Omega would have had a 25-star match with this guy, but Karrion Kross decided to dispose of him within a minute. Ciampa came out, challenged him from In Your House. Is anybody beating Karrion Kross in the foreseeable future? I guess I've been saying this since day one of this podcast. Ciampa's in trouble.
Yeah, next champ.
Ooh, next champ.
Yeah, I think so.
You think they skip Velveteen never gets his hands on it?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, well, we'll segue right into that then. After the match between Roderick Strong and Dexter Lumis, which I thought was a really good match, it's amazing how Dexter Lumis just cannot blink. Like, that is probably one of the most amazing physical things I've seen. You know, like the hitchhiker's thumb, it's my hitchhiker's thumb. You know, the guys that can do it like bent like 90 degrees backward. The fact that he can't blink is incredible, and it's great. He uses it perfectly. Like, it's actually like really, especially when he's petting the guy after he chokes him out and he just kind of stares off like he was doing after the match. But then the Undisputed Era and the Velveteen Dream got involved. Apparently tomorrow night, I did see on NXT social media today that apparently, I guess, Adam Cole and Mr. Regal will be having some sort of meeting.
Negotiation.
Yeah. Well, he's coming up on a year as champ, right? Yeah. So it's he said something last week about a celebration. It looks like we're heading this towards In Your House. Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. John, you're not giving the Dream a chance here? John Smith. I'm sorry, you're the one that just said it earlier.
Yeah, no, I don't see Adam Cole losing that belt unless it's somebody dominant.
Like who? Who do you got? You gonna give it to Karrion Kross this early, or?
Kross is definitely the next champ in my opinion.
Okay. John DeConnie, anything? As far as the Velveteen Dream?
I think that will be a, if I may borrow from you, a 25-star Kenny Omega level match. As to who wins, I would not have a guess at this point.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so we got another week this up. We got tomorrow night, and then next week's to go home to In Your House. We'll be making our picks next week. Make sure you guys join the Essential Wrestling Podcast pool. I know we're 2 shows in already. I caught Tyler. Tyler had a nice lead on me after Money in the Bank. I kind of caught up to him with my Cody pick. So we're doing all right.
Nice.
The Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. The Iho of Phantasma has advanced to the finals. He wins Group B in a winner-take-all match against Akira Tozawa. Again, these luchadors in that SUV that abducted Jacqueline Wild, and they got Raul Mendoza, if I remember correctly, it was a while ago. They haven't gotten anyone recently, but they've made several attempts at the Iho of Phantasma.
Yep.
I have no idea who these guys are going to be. Maybe Eva Marie's behind this too. Maybe CM Punk. I have no idea. I think I'm going to start using that as my mystery person for every. I'm going to bust Tyler about CM Punk every single time that he's making a mystery pick. I might have to try to weasel Eva Marie in there with every single one until she comes back. But in Group A, not so fast here. We have a triple threat match to decide the winner of Group A, because Kushida, Drake Maverick, and Jake Atlas all beat each other, all went 2-1. There was no tiebreaker. They're going to go at it tomorrow night with the winner to fight Phantasma, hopefully at In Your House. I'd like to see that match on a pay-per-view rather than NXT TV to be the interim Cruiserweight champion, which Jordan Devlin is not happy about.
When the champion comes back, then they fight to unify?
I would hope so. I would hope so. I do not know what the situation right now is with NXT UK over in Europe, but I do know that they did reschedule NXT TakeOver Dublin, which was supposed to be last month, maybe end of April. They changed it to the end of October. So I'm kind of hoping that my vision throughout this entire tournament is a Jordan Devlin versus Kushida at NXT TakeOver Dublin for the Cruiserweight Championship. And that would be probably one of the most amazing matches I've ever seen if that does come to fruition. But so that I'm assuming they would have to fight at some point once Europe gets the green light to go with NXT UK. But I guess my question is, guys, this hasn't been your traditional tournament. This has been pool play. This has been round robin, however you want to call it. They do this in the World Cup of Soccer, the round robin, blah, blah, blah. You know, they do this specifically in wrestling with the G1 Climax and the Super J Cup and all those fun things. John DeConnie, I'll start with you first. Do you like the round robin style? Do you prefer this round robin style? Do you like brackets better?
I think brackets work better in the case of, let's say, the IC tournament that's going on right now, because they're established names and whatnot. I think normally I don't like pool play, but I can tell you that in this, I think it really works because maybe I'm speaking mostly for myself, but there are still a lot of guys in the cruiserweight division that I'm not real familiar with. So getting to see all of them multiple times go against each other, not have, one and dones. Yeah. I think it gets you more invested in each of the characters, and I think it really worked for this particular tournament.
Yeah, Phantasma and Jake Atlas, I believe, this is their debut in NXT.
Right.
Kushida's been around for a little bit, but not really utilized. I think, like I said, this is a perfect time for him to shine, especially since this is right up his alley from all I think the Super J Cup is their junior heavyweight tournament over there, if I remember correctly, in New Japan. John, what are you thinking? John Smith, what are you thinking? Do you like the round robins, the bracket styles? What's your?
I love it. I think they should do that kind of stuff with tag team tournaments too. I agree with the Intercontinental because it's a more established title and you usually have, higher level guys going after that. But when it comes to like more is always better, as far as tournaments are concerned.
Okay.
If a match means something, then it's going to mean something to us, And then also, El Hijo del Fantasma. How long till Vince changes his name to just Fantasma?
I'm thinking they're just going to shorten it to Eho.
How about L?
L?
Just L.
I was actually someone came up with Dominic Dijakovic today. I'm dying to know what they're going to change his name to.
Yeah.
I'm thinking once a year. I believe. Well, they did. This isn't the first time they've done this in WWE. It feels like it is because I don't know if you guys remember the Mixed Match Challenge. The second season was, I believe, pool play. The second time around they did it, the one that Truth and Carmella won the trip to go anywhere they wanted to in the world. They went to WWE headquarters.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that wasn't on TV though. So a lot of people, like I said, I didn't really get to tune into it. That was right in the middle of work season for me. I really didn't catch a lot of it, if at any of it at all. I would like this once a year. Something. If this is the new King of the Ring, or if this is a Queen of the Ring. Like I said, I mean, I know Charlotte's got the Queen moniker, and I don't know if that's maybe the reason why
The only reason we haven't seen that yet.
That's the reason why we haven't seen the Queen of the Ring yet. But
Probably.
I mean, they could set it up. I mean, they had a king too back in 1993, and he crowned Bret Hart, in the coronation. So I don't know why Charlotte can't just jump the winner, and that kicks off a feud. I don't know. I think once a year.
Shayna Baszler the Queen of Spades too.
Shayna Baszler is the Queen of Spades. That's it. Yeah, it's just the.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Something that'll probably be changed once she comes to the main roster too, full time, and somebody gets in Vince's ear and tells him what that means.
It was a magic trick. She just came out on her. It was a magic trick. All right, we have. We'll get into the triple threat match and our picks. That's going to happen tomorrow night. We'll discuss that then. Also, they made Damian Priest and Finn Balor. That match will go. That was announced this afternoon on Pat McAfee's podcast. I hope there actually comes a point in time where we can start making major announcements on WWE or AEW pay-per-views. That'd be a lot of fun. If you guys are out there who works with All Elite Wrestling or World Wrestling Entertainment and you'd like us to break news for you, we'd be more than happy to do that for you at ProWrestlingTicket.com. The last point I want to get to before we move on to Raw, Mia Yim had her match with Santana Garrett, and either two know Santana Garrett. I thought she was like this indie darling, and they just haven't done anything with her. I just didn't know why they keep on jobbing her out the way they're doing with her. But Mia Yim beat Santana Garrett. The Garganos came out. Candice jumped Mia, and then Keith Lee came down for the save. If you're looking at a mock in your house card, it's getting kind of full here. Do we want to see a North American title match between Keith Lee and Johnny Gargano and just leave the women in their corner, in gentlemen's corners? Or I'd actually like to see a mixed tag here and just hold off on the North American title for now. John DeConnie, look like you have a thought in your head.
Yeah, well, the only thing that would be a little odd about the mixed tag is just, and maybe this is just my personal bias, Keith Lee in the ring with two women and Johnny Gargano, like that says danger to me a little bit. Like, I think it would be an absolutely unbelievable North American championship match. But as you put it so well earlier, then you wind up with 7 matches on In Your House, and
yeah.
I think you'll probably get your mixed tag match if I had to put money on it.
And I believe the reference you're going for was the WrestleMania 3 with King Kong Bundy and the midgets. I know we've had a couple King Kong Bundy references today. John, do you still have the action figure with you? There you go. That's it. Bucket list checked off. King Kong Bundy on the podcast. Check.
And
Yeah, I like to see it. It all depends on if they say the one match that kind of really hasn't had a storyline with it now is what Imperium's going to do, if at anything at all, with the tag titles at Takeover. I can't really remember a Takeover where the titles either weren't defended or the champions weren't on the show in some way, shape, or form. I can't imagine Imperium sitting this out as champs. I don't know who you put them against right now. I mean, I know they don't have the roster in front of me, but I can't imagine them not having that. So that'd be 6 matches. We got two non-title matches already booked. The women's title match is already booked. Possibly Cole and Dream. There's 4 tag titles. 5. Yeah, it's getting full, and it's going to be great. Going to be great. So, and then last night on Raw, so I'll let you guys try to start this off here. But a lot went on. A lot went on last night on Raw. I thought it was a great show. Any general comments, John DeConnie?
I liked the new audience, if you will, them letting the recruits and whatnot act as the audience. Just that little bit of sound in the building, I thought made the show that much better.
Yeah, John Smith, any comments on the crowd or the hockey glass? They're
I was going to ask you if you installed that glass, first of all.
I'm sure somebody's working hard to clean it right now. That's usually Tyler's job at work. I'm actually a little upset that he's not here to discuss the first wrestling show with hockey glass.
You know, Al, I've said for several years now, whether I'm talking to my brother Chris, which is how I know you originally, or my buddy Fitz, who you know from the PWP, it is a shame that someone with your wealth of knowledge and passion for the business isn't receiving a paycheck weekly with the WWE logo on it. This is your in, bro.
This is it. These are. I was actually talking to Joey about this the first time, and just that he wants to go do something with the play-by-play broadcasting. Vince, sign me up. Hey, Tony Khan, sign me up. Shimani can't be around forever. Actually, I'd like to be on the bump. That's kind of goal number 1. I like that morning show. They have nice little energy over there. I think I fit in well over there. Apollo Crews is our new United States champion. He ever since WrestleMania, he came out. It was the Monday after WrestleMania. He came out and had like a 20 to 25 minute barn burner with Aleister Black, and my jaw hit the ground. And it's not the fact that I didn't think Apollo Crews could wrestle this way. It's the fact that they're giving him the time to do it. Like, holy crap. Like, this is like, it's been, I think somebody said 5 years now. Like, he's finally getting his time. I mean, I guess there was a SummerSlam a couple of years ago. We challenged Miz for the Intercontinental title. That's been it for him. He lost that match, and it's been nothing since. So I'm extremely happy for Apollo Crews, because the guy he's stayed in a tremendous shape the entire time. He can move like the Dickens, and I'm happy for him. John Smith, any thoughts? Apollo Crews on Friday, that match was great.
It came out of nowhere a little bit. I wonder, did they just need to get the title off of Andrade for some sort of split angle with him and Zelina and Angel Garza? I don't understand why they would keep the U.S. title on Andrade for so long and then just have him lose it this way, in like an angle that wasn't really an angle at all.
Well, he did have there was a little bit there was a small angle before Money in the Bank, right? He had a little bit of an issue with Zelina Vega. Oh, he slapped. Remember that slap? He slapped Andrade before Money in the Bank. That was probably the hardest slap I've ever heard on TV. Like, he cracked him. But he got injured in the first match, and this was the rebuttal. John DeConnie, anything?
The timing of this, like John Smith said, seemed a little bit odd. Like, it seemed like this was the kind of thing that normally Vince would do this if Apollo had, his father was in the army. It's Memorial Day. Let's put the U.S. title on a guy who's got some kind of military backstory. I loved seeing it happen. It just kind of did seem out of nowhere.
All right, that's all fair. For all you stat junkies at home or all your history buffs, Apollo Crews is the 96th different United States champion now. We're approaching number 100.
Wow.
Gonna happen maybe in the next course of the next year or so, depending on how much this gets hot potato or how much, maybe like 2 years from now. It's amazing how long it takes between new champions. It's funny when you track all that.
Yeah, it's not the Attitude Era anymore.
No. So, all right. Where do we go? Our Truth was just told that Tom Brady is not the 24/7 champion.
Love it.
Gronk throwing out promo. You can tell he was reading, but whatever. He had some energy with it.
Somebody tell Gronk that it's not 1983 between the glasses and the style of promo that he got.
he if there was ever somebody who looked Yo Soy Fiesta, that was Gronk right there in that picture. That was Yo Soy Fiesta written all over it. I thought that was funny. The Street Profits shot a 28 in miniature golf.
Break
If
that
you
down
do
for us,
the math
Al?
on this one, that's 8 holes in one. Only if the other 10 holes were two'd, like that's
A whole lot of eagles and birdies.
that's some incredible mini golfing. The fact that the Street Profits shot a 28, incredible. Are you guys enjoying these segments? I'm growing a little after the first week. The basketball, it was fun. Kind of axe throwing got better. Now I'm actually having fun with this. Now actually I can't wait to see them go bowling next week. John Smith, I know this isn't wrestling. Are you enjoying any of this?
I think it's definitely good for these two teams because these are two teams that play a lot to the crowd. I mean, the Viking Raiders don't play to the crowd, but they feed off the crowd, and the crowd is really into them. And then the Street Profits, I don't even have to tell you about them. So to have them, screaming into an empty abyss doesn't really, do it for us. So to have them out there, doing some stuff, doing some golf, doing some basketball. What else did they do? They did archery axe throwing.
Axe throwing,
Yeah. Some badass stuff.
Yeah, I think it's been fun, and I'm kind of hoping that you kind of get the feeling that the Viking Raiders will, combine, throw a perfect 300 game, bowl 300 game. I guess if the Street Profits are shooting 28s, the mini golf. There's no reason why the Viking Raiders can't bowl a 300 here.
Are they going to bring like a Fred Flintstone bowling ball?
Yeah. Imagine if they had the car outside and it tips when one of them gets into it. They I kind of get the feeling that the Viking Raiders will get the upper hand in the bowling match, which will set up and they're keeping score now. There's a graphic with a scoreboard now, 2-2. You kind of get the feeling this is leading up to 2-1. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you kind of get the feeling that this is leading up to ultimately the tag title match at Backlash as the tiebreaker in this.
I think the biggest question is during this bowling segment, do we see the Viking Raiders, someone come down the lane, roll a ball, and see pins explode?
Yeah.
Just to show us how good they are, and they wind up bowling a 400 round.
And are they going to get broken up? I know it's the ongoing joke here. Everyone thinks Ivar is cute. Are we going to get an ongoing joke that's just going to be someone? Oh, you know what? You're going to get away with it now because this guy's cute, and it's always Ivar.
They're going to get an extra drink from the bar or something because Ivar's cute.
There you go. Because all bowling alleys have bars, right? It's the first thing they build in the bowling alley, if I remember correctly.
They build the bowling alley around the bar.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Staying in the tag division, any thought Murphy and Austin Theory? I kind of hope, just for the sake of the Raw tag team division here, kind of hoping these two stay together, and I like the combination of the two. I mean, I'm one of the bigger Buddy Murphy fans out there. I think he's incredible. I like Austin Theory from what I've seen so far. They should go after whoever wins the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders.
And it helps sell the disciple angle. Having one disciple, okay. Having the two disciples to go do your bidding, to gang up on whomever is your target, as it were. I think it works better with two, and those two together could be phenomenal.
Yeah, I think it'd be really good. What was he gonna say? I hope AOP just joins right back. I mean, if he has a stable of 5, that's a faction. I know that. Tyler and I had discussions on what's a faction, what's a stable, what's a group, what's a tri. We're getting like 4 or 5 people here now. If AOP comes back, Johnny, you think they'll keep the AOP around? Have the 5 of them go around just kill people? I think that would be a lot of fun. And I don't think there's any reason why Seth Rollins wouldn't be WWE champion if they get AOP back and they're in full force. Kind of evolutionish, they waited for everybody to come back full force.
Bite your tongue.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Nobody wants Seth Rollins as champ. Nobody ever wanted Seth Rollins as champ.
Certainly not as a face champ. Heel champ, I can stomach. Face champ.
I love this gimmick, this Jesus Christ gimmick. I think it's just he's playing it well. He's playing it. I think it's
I hope this is an Aleister Black versus Rollins feud.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that. They're fighting on Monday. We'll get to that conversation on that. We got a little bit of time here. We're actually doing okay on time, but we got a little bit left to go over picks, and we can go into detail on that one. Nia Jax defeated Charlotte Flair and Natalya to earn a Raw Women's Championship match. That was kind of since what happened last week. Nia Jax interrupting Asuka's celebration. This was kind of, I don't want to say a foregone conclusion, but I think we all kind of knew Nia was going to win this. You're giving Nia a chance at Backlash. She is 0 forever against Asuka in every match imaginable. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet. A guy actually listed all the matches, and Asuka's, I believe, 9-0 against her. You giving Nia a chance here? Anybody? John Smith, you giving Nia a chance?
Going up to 10. No way.
10. All right.
Asuka's my girl, though. Asuka, will you marry me? If you see this, I'm here for you.
I will make sure we tag her on Twitter in this post. What time is it? A little after 7 o'clock, a little after the top of the hour. I thought I'd fast forward to this part.
All right.
Angel Garza. Huge, as clean as you could possibly get. I mean, he jumped him before the match. That's fine. It was just a quick chop block.
Possibly get, he says.
It's as clean as you could possibly get. Chop blocks him before the match, and then clean as a whistle from bell to bell beats him. I think that's a huge win for Angel Garza beating Kevin Owens.
I think that's reminiscent of Owens' debut beating Cena.
Yeah.
Kind of just like, oh my God, I did not see that coming. Big things ahead for this fella.
John Smith, one clipper, and he was done. One wing clipper.
One wing clipper. Yeah, well, I mean, the guy couldn't walk. What do you want from him?
Yeah, he tried to put a
pop up. Sprained MCL or something.
Yeah, chop. I've never been chop blocked before. I'm not sure. I don't know how bad. It looks like it hurts.
Not good.
All right, before we get into the picks, small little discussion here about this alleged greatest wrestling match of all time. I try my hardest to always look for the positive, and I always try to have fun with it. And I think this is going to be a great match. But you're billing Edge versus Randy Orton as the greatest wrestling match of all time. And then you have Edge cut a promo, doesn't know if he can do the things he used to be able to do. He's going to dig down deep to the very depths of his soul to try. How are you billing this as the greatest wrestling match of all time when what was the number 30? He was retired for 3,212 days. And he doesn't know if he can go anymore, but they're going to put him in something billed called the greatest wrestling match of all time. There's something that's just, it's not adding up here.
You have Randy start off the storyline for this angle with saying, oh yeah, you beat me in a gimmick match, but you can't shine my boots in a real wrestling match. So that's what we're going to do next. And now suddenly it's going to be the greatest wrestling match of all time. The consistency just isn't there. It's weird and it's awkward. And the fact that they keep hitting on it every time they mention it, ad nauseum.
John Smith, anything like this?
It might be the best performance of all time. They're both good performers, great performers, maybe the best of all time. But they are definitely not the best wrestlers of all time. So I don't see how they could put on the best wrestling match of all time.
Especially if Kenny Omega's not involved. And
Exactly.
CM Punk's not involved. I can't imagine that not being, if this was Kenny Omega versus CM Punk, I can understand how this could be billed as the greatest wrestling match of all time. But this is a guy that was retired for 9 years. Again, I mean, I had nothing. I mean, I love Randy Orton. I mean, I got a huge ring-worn autographed hoodie behind me that was framed by my beautiful bride-to-be for my birthday, courtesy of Sideline Sports out in Pennsylvania. It's one of ProWrestlingPick'em.com sponsors, Sideline Sports. Go there for all your WWE autograph needs. I don't get why they're doing. I don't get it. And I try to give them a pass on everything. John, you both know me. I'm the easiest critic. But this is blowing my mind. How you're calling this the greatest wrestling match of all time, and then Edge is like, well, I don't know if I can do it.
Especially when you're going to probably have AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan for the IC title on the same card.
That's staring right in the exactly. There you go. I didn't even think of that, and like I said, I was going to get to that after this. That would probably, hopefully, that would have clicked. But yeah, we got AJ.
I didn't mean to jump the gun on predictions, but
hopefully the Iconics stay together. That was the last thing. They looked like they were back together. Hopefully they don't have any more mishaps. And then they had the pole part at the end. They took the wrestlers that were in the crowd, ran out from behind the hockey glass, and did the pull apart for Drew McIntyre and Lashley. I'll get your opinions on this real quick. Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley, they have main evented shows in TNA for the World Championship. It was a decent match from what I remember. Are you guys looking forward to this at all? John Smith, you looking forward to this at all?
I am, actually. I think this is the best version of Bobby Lashley that we've seen since he came back. I think it really works him and MVP together. It worked with Leo Rush, too, but I don't know, why they had to break them up. I think MVP is actually a little better for him, though. And I honestly could see him beating Drew McIntyre at Backlash. And then maybe Drew has to get it back from him at SummerSlam once the crowd's back,
Well, that was my theory with Rollins, like the reverse theory here. Like, why not, instead of what happened to Kofi and what happened to AJ, and I don't know if it happened to AJ as much, but I guess after you're done with the chase, you kind of get sick of the champ. Which in Kofi's case, it was heartbreaking to hear the things I was hearing people saying that how bad Kofi was, and it was just not right considering you had the entire universe with Kofi Mania. Like, why not take it off him early, then have him chase it again, and then he can get his moment at SummerSlam. I thought Rollins would have been the perfect person to do that with. I don't got a problem with Lashley doing that as well. If they just do a quick hot potato with Lashley as champ, just so McIntyre can get his moment under the sun. John DeConnie, anything you want to follow up on that?
I didn't see it that way, but now that you bring it up, it's a great point, and I agree with John Smith 100% right up to that point of Lashley winning it. But now I guess I kind of come around to that. But yes, I think MVP has made me care about Bobby Lashley, whereas for the last 6 to 8 months, the minute I see Lashley, I beg that I have fast forward left in the controller, and just because I don't want to see Lana. And because she is,
now John DeConnie, you've watched TNA and Impact over the years. Like Bobby Lashley can go. Like I don't think anyone has any.
Exactly.
I think they were just kind of upset with what they were doing with him. I had very high hopes with him and Aleister Black at WrestleMania. They kind of fell in expectations, but I got really excited when that match was booked for WrestleMania this year.
And the thing is, Lashley, he needs a mouthpiece because. Please don't put a microphone in front of him. But it needs to not be Lana because she needs to not be employed. Please don't ever put a microphone in front of her again. But, so I think this could be, whether Lashley winds up winning it or not, I think this could be a fantastic match between two big behemoths that are incredibly athletic for their size.
Yeah.
I think this could actually be, on paper, maybe, especially 8 months ago, if you're reading that on paper, that's a filler match on Raw at best. Now I'm a little excited for it as a title match.
Yeah, I like this for the title. All right. It is that wonderful moment of the evening. It is our Pick'em time, sponsored or brought to you by our sponsors here, ProWrestlingPick'em.com. Play against your friends, play against the universe. And you can play against, yeah, here you go. And you can play against us. We actually do have a public pool that anybody can join on ProWrestlingPick'em.com. The Essential Wrestling Podcast pool. Both Tyler and I are in it. John, I believe you will now start being in it. You're a little bit behind the 8 ball here, but as you know from pools past, from being in my pools for the past 5 years, the big points are coming. They're coming up.
Yep.
So you by no means are out of it. So going to, I guess, tomorrow night. We'll do tomorrow night first, right? That would make sense because it's Wednesday comes first alphabetically, so we'll do tomorrow night first.
Sure.
Like I said, AEW really didn't have anything other than the Battle Royal announced. They didn't announce any participants. We briefly discussed Lance Archer running through everybody if he's in it. I can't really think of anybody else right now that would make any sense unless they just go in a completely different direction and have, say, Jungle Boy win it.
Well, more importantly, we have the Inner Circle Pep Rally coming up. Let's not just gloss right over that. I mean,
you know what? It's on that was next on my list. Yep. I'm excited for the Pep Rally. Anything the Inner Circle does, anything Jericho does.
Anything Jericho does is gold.
All right. Wednesday night NXT. We have the Cruiserweight tiebreaker triple threat match. You got Jake Atlas. You got Drake Maverick. You have Kushida. I guess before we get into your picks, I guess the first question is this Drake Maverick's last match?
No.
John Smith saying no?
I would have to say yes, just because I think it's way too tempting to see Kushida not only versus Son of Ghost, but then further down the line against the Irishman to unify the title. So I think I see Kushida winning this bracket and then going into the finals there. But man, Maverick would be a hell of a story.
Okay, hypothetically, I'm taking Kushida too, but I don't think this is the last time we see Drake Maverick. I think he gets rehired after this. I'm not saying this was, but then it's going to come to the point where it's just like, well, this was just a story anyway, just to get people, and that would be great because I think people are falling for it hook, line, and sinker. I know I did. Tyler did. We were kind of pissed when Jake Maverick was on that list. Without even getting a chance, and he got his chance. He's had 3 really great matches. His match with Kushida was awesome.
And he's versatile. He's versatile because he does other things. He was a general manager for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
Sidekick, a manager, a valet, whatever you want to call him. There's way too many ways to use him that once, the lockdowns are lifted and everything gets back to normal and the roster, you got to think with the class of future endeavors that we just had, I got to think at least a third of those people are probably coming back once they have a use for them. Right now, there's just no use for them. So. Yeah,
I said a lot. It's unfortunate even that Rusev was on that list. Yeah, that whole list was just people they weren't doing anything with, and it's a shame. John Smith, who do you got in this one?
I got Drake.
You gonna go Drake? You gonna go Drake with their win?
Got Drake. I think the story they're telling is him scratching and clawing and almost getting there, and then he loses at the end. I think he wins this one and then loses in the finals.
Okay. We have Rhea Ripley tag teaming with her opponent, one of her 2 opponents at TakeOver in her house. She's tag teaming with the other challenger, Io Shirai, as they take on the NXT Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair, and a partner of Charlotte's choosing. So the first question is, why is Charlotte going to pick CM Punk in a match that's in the women's division? It makes sense, right? It's CM Punk.
I think you gave yourself the latitude earlier in this show where, CM Punk when we need a mystery opponent for the men's group, Eva Marie.
You know what? That would be a nice little pairing right there. Eva Marie run around with Charlotte for a little bit. I'm for that.
There you go.
I'm gonna go with, I don't know. I don't think Charlotte's gonna have anybody to be honest with you. I think it's just gonna be her with a kendo stick again. I feel like they're gonna just replay what they did last week and just have this time it would be a disqualification because Charlotte's in the match. But
I was thinking if it is someone, it's gonna be Dakota Kai.
That'd be a good pick.
Or Shayna Baszler.
You put her back on Wednesday nights already after 3 months, or you just?
She's not even on the Raw. She's not on the Raw roster. She's still on the
Not?
NXT roster.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I was looking at it today. Actually, I was like, where the hell is she? Nope, she's on the NXT roster. Not that that's like gonna last or anything, but that's just how it is for now.
Then we have in a steel cage, we have Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher, and in an extreme curveball, Kurt Angle, who was on that list of future endeavors, is now refereeing this match. How is this possible? B, who you got? John Smith, you got anybody? Let you speak first on this one.
It's a cage fight. First of all, it's not a steel cage match. This is like UFC.
Oh, the cage fight. Yeah, it's knockout or submission, right?
This is like a kayfabe UFC match.
Well, yeah, it wins by knockout or submission, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So those are that UFC, that fake stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the new
Not as real as they let you think.
2020 version of the Lions Den match.
Yes,
Exactly. Now, as long as it's not the brawl for all, right?
You know what? Say what you want about the Brawl for All. That match at WrestleMania 15 is one of my favorite matches of all time.
No, I feel so bad for Bart.
It was a bobblehead. He made him into a human bobblehead. Did you? You know, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. People are like, oh, this. No, dude, that was awesome. Butterbean just killed him, and he got fired the next day. He didn't survive Black Monday after that. That was the worst thing that happened to Bart Gunn. He didn't even survive Black Monday. John Smith, who do you got? Riddle or Thatcher?
Riddle, definitely.
Riddle, definitely.
100%.
John DeConnie, you got?
Give me Thatcher, just because I hated Riddle when he was in the UFC, and I'm not a huge fan of him now.
Okay, I'm going to throw this one by you. I'm going to take Timothy Thatcher. I'm going to go Kurt Angle Swerve here. I'm going to put Kurt Angle with Timothy Thatcher, give Kurt his job back, because from what I've seen from Timothy Thatcher, he's mediocre at best on the microphone. I'm trying to be nice here. He can work on his mic skills, I guess. He can do. So if you put him with Kurt right now, I don't really know Timothy Thatcher all that well as a wrestler, but I mean, if they believe in him enough to the point where they're going to substitute him in for Pete Dunne, and put Kurt with him, that'll give Kurt something to do. That'll get people to watch on Wednesday nights just to see Kurt Angle.
How mad is Ken Shamrock that he's over at Impact right now when this was tailor-made for him?
Yeah, no. You see that the meme or whatever that Ken Shamrock's like a jacked up old Al Bundy? It's the funniest picture. You gotta look for it. It's so funny. It's a resentment. He just has that look on his face, like an Al Bundy look on his face too.
Not seen that.
SmackDown, they only announced 2 matches, but they are 2 very important matches. They are the semifinals for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship of the World. Daniel Bryan and Jeff Hardy, and I like this match. I like this match a lot.
Sure.
John Smith, what are you thinking here?
Daniel Bryan, Sheamus interference.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, John.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think both of these matches kind of go the same way. You got D-Bry over Jeff Hardy because Sheamus gets involved. You got Styles over Elias because maybe Corbin gets involved.
Yeah.
Then we have ourselves one hell of a final.
Yeah, we have our Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. That was last year for the WWE Championship, right? They fought over the title over the hemp belt, if I remember correctly. So we're going to renew another feud here with this tournament. I don't think anyone's going to complain about that match either. Now, if you put this now we're back at the greatest wrestling match of all time.
There you go. That's where this one belongs.
That's where it belongs. It's in there somewhere. We just had to piece it together.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. I'm in. Monday Night Raw. We got so we already talked about the Street Profits and the War Raiders going bowling. I think the War Raiders. I don't think we really need to discuss that any further. But we have Aleister Black and Seth Rollins. John Smith, I know where your head's going with this one. It's going to be 5 seconds, and Rollins is going to get his head kicked off. You think this is going to be any better than that?
I think they're going to have themselves like a 2-segment match, and then it'll just end in interference by the Disciples. and then this is leading up to something bigger, I think. This is getting Aleister Black up to the main event status, in my opinion.
All right, John DeConnie?
Yeah, could not agree more. This is meant to elevate Aleister Black, which he doesn't need much help with, but the way this plays out is that Black gets attacked to save Rollins behind, and on and on and on they go.
I just found a Facebook page for those. I know you two know this. I'm very much a numbers junkie, I guess, to put it in a nice way. I just found that some kind of Facebook page or whatever. What if I told you that in the year 2020, out of all their major promotions, and that's including NJPW, that's including Ring of Honor, that's including Impact, AEW, all WWE, if I would have told you that Aleister Black has the most rings right now, out of everybody in professional wrestling, how would you feel about that?
Most wins?
Most wins. I believe the
You're
record.
right.
I'm trying to look it up now. I'm not trying to rude and I'll look away from camera.
Sounds about right to me. He never loses.
2 he is right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they lose last night or they lost last night. Maybe 19-3. I gotta find the page.
Yeah, but one of those 3 is what? When he got
Styles beat him.
Yeah. And one of them was a tag match, right? Where he wasn't the one pinned?
Probably. Nah, that's not it. All right, maybe I can try to look this up. Maybe I'll try to forward this. Yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool. If you pick one wrestler in the world right now, who's leading the world in wins? Aleister Black.
That's how you build a star, and he's clearly one of the next big ones.
Now, I believe I did tell this to you, so I want to go on record right now. Today's May 26th. It's my brother's birthday. I should know this. I told you guys, I want to say 2 years ago, I made this prediction that Aleister Black in 5 years would be kicking Roman Reigns' head off in the main event of WrestleMania and winning the WWE Championship. I have 3 years for that to come true. I just want to put this on public record now so we can look back when we're making like our 100th anniversary or 100th episode highlight video or whatever, years down the line, hopefully 3 years down the line, and then you got the black mass and Roman's head's going, Bart gun, and Aleister Black gets the pinfall. We can rewind to this moment at 7:22 p.m. on May 26th where I officially put this on record.
Taking the under.
You taking the under? You think it's gonna be quicker than that?
I'm not sure I would have 2 years ago, but I certainly am now.
I saw him in NXT. I'm like, Vince is gonna love this guy as soon as he gets the nod for one of the Raw or SmackDown. And then our last pick, and it's not really much of a pick, but kayfabe storyline wise, we have Rey Mysterio's retirement ceremony on Monday. Are you buying this? John Smith, you buying this? John DeConnie? John, you want to talk first?
I did not even a little bit because if for no other reason than we already heard the story that Ray wants to tag with his son in his first match, and he's training to be a superstar. And maybe he goes away for a little while or whatever. But is this the last time we see him in the ring? And no, absolutely not.
John Smith, you buying this, or are we talking bull bleep here? Hashtag bull bleep.
I will echo every sentiment he just gave you because it does not make sense for him to leave yet. Maybe he doesn't. He actually does retire tomorrow, but then he'll definitely be coming back at some point. But I think Damian might even come out not tomorrow, Monday. I mean, Damian might even come out and convince him not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll let Rollins punk you out like that at the end? I don't know. Maybe he comes out with that salmon colored jacket Mark Henry was wearing. But he's not going to be turning heel, though, so I don't know why he would wear the Mark Henry jacket.
That's what I do!
Yeah. All right. So thank you very much, guys, for coming on, for filling in for Tyler. Hopefully you guys are available in the future, even just to come on just to make guest picks at some point every now and again. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys coming on. Anything you want to say at the end here before I close it up? I know, John DeConnie, you got the last word here because you created it for me.
All right, John Smith.
John Smith, anything you need to throw out there before we say our adieus?
No, I had a blast. Thanks for having me on, and Bundy out.
There you go, Bundy out.
Nice.
All right, as I mentioned earlier in the show, this is actually part one of the Tuesday night doubleheader. And the doubleheader actually continues next at 8 p.m. with episode 15 of the Primetime Rundown Zoom's interview series, when Joey Jarzenko welcomes College Hoop Digest Jake Zimmer And then, again, that will be at 8 o'clock tonight, in about a half an hour from now. Follow the Eastern Observer, powered by the Blackjack Media Networks. Follow us on Instagram at the Eastern Observer and on Twitter at Observe Eastern. And you can also follow ProWrestlingPick'em.com at PWPick'em on Twitter. Go to our website. You can watch the archives. We have an archive page now for all of our prior episodes of the Essential Wrestling Podcast. So there's more than enough of us here for you to be entertained. One last thing, John, before I throw it to you. John, actually, we didn't have a closing line to close out the show. John DeConnie came up with a hell of an idea, and he's going to say that now. He's going to say it whenever he's on. He gets full credit for it. But before we do that, I just want to tell Alexa Bliss that we love you here, and you will never hear anything bad about you from us.
Absolutely. And anyway, Al, thanks for having me on. Been a great time. And to everyone else out there, thanks for joining us. Good night and best of luck in all your future endeavors.